Eileo guys, and welcome back once again. Right before we begin the video, do remember, feel free to subscribe if you guys want to. If you do like the video, by the time this video is over, feel free to like it. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. And in this old video, we have another update to Balrona. Now, she has some slight changes since the last time, or the first time that I did her video. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so we're going to start off over here with Fire Barona instead. We're going to, keep things going pretty good. And let me make sure I am on the correct one, which I seem to be. But anyways, we have Fire Barona here. She is a balanced type. She's coming in with 25k HP, 3.1k attack, and then 3.2k defense. Stat-wise, she's fine. I mean, she's an at 5. Her stats are over 3k as a balanced type. Her HP could be higher, but in terms of her uses, which we're about to find out, it doesn't really matter. Anyways though, for her 3-star skill, she has HP Siphon, which greatly restores her own HP in proportion to the amount of damage that she deals. And then for her 5-star skill, she has Elemental Edge, which basically means regardless of what Ashramon that she hits, she is going to excel in terms of damage with that. Now, some sustainability with her, because she can obviously heal herself, especially if she's on like a crit rate attack or attack build, which is just triple attack. That sounds appealing at first, but unfortunately it's not, because with books over here, HP Siphon receives a 25% damage increase, and then Elemental Edge receives a 20% damage increase. But with a 3.1k attack stat, it's definitely not anemic, but in order to get her to Evo 3 to get that 3.1k attack stat, it's just a waste of resources. You don't really need sustainability, especially as a Firemon. And if you do, why not just build Fire Wildfang? Maybe Wildfangs are harder to get for you than gleaming up your Balronas, but literally Fire Wildfang would do the job. I don't even know what Fire Wildfang's attack stat is, but let's go take a look at it real quick while we're talking about her, because I'm just curious, man. Like, if you want self-sustain, just pick Fire Wildfang. Elemental Edge, especially in a PvE situation, isn't my favorite. It does have its uses in PvP, mainly for Fire Indra, but Fire Indra, I want to say, has like a 4k attack stat, and she doesn't. Look, Wildfang outdamages her. Wildfang doesn't, she has less defense than her, 1k less defense, but she has slightly more HP and slightly more attack, plus a super evolution, and I mean, her book percentage is just bonkers. Like, why would you do Fire Barona at Evo 3? Why would you do that? And Indra does have Elemental Edge, but that's on his 3-star skill, so you have more control over that. And with a 4k attack stat, there's nothing to scoff at with that. And he has 31k HP. He already has more HP than Barona. There's literally no reason to build her. So I'm just trying to drive that point home. Fire Barona, still to this day, is pretty much just fodder. Moving on next though, we have Water Barona, who is also an attacker type, which is not also because Fire Barona is balanced, so pay no attention to that. Water Barona is an attacker type. She's coming in with 28k HP, nearly 29k HP, 3.5k attack, and then 2.4k defense. Once again, her stats are solid, not super duper high, but they're solid as a nat 5. Let's take a look at her skills. So for her 3-star skill, she has Courageous Strike, so this is a great mon to have in Titans, and also a great mon to have in Colossus, or any area in the game where there's a whole bunch of HP on the mob that you're fighting, because Courageous Strike does better when there's a lot of HP. And then for her 5-star skill, she has Defense Down, which grants an 80% chance to reduce enemies for 2 turns. So once again, this is pretty much just a Titans mon, so if you want to bring her in PvE, be that weird guy. But do remember, especially with recent updates to the game, Water Barona is no longer meta. Even with her books, with her Courageous Strike getting a 20% damage boost, and her Defense Down getting a 25% damage boost, she is no longer queen of the Courageous Strikers. Baby girl over here, Acer, is actually the queen now. I know Acer has slightly less attack, and I believe her defense stat is almost the same. Yeah, defense stat is almost the same. Let me look at this. 28k HP, 30k HP, slightly more HP. Attack stat is definitely different, but having Courageous Strike on both skills means it doesn't matter if I get orbs or not, she's still going to do a buttload of damage compared to Balrona. Because if your Balrona's hitting like a butt cheek on a stick and she's getting a lot of orbs, well, congratulations, your Barona, her Courageous Strike doesn't exist anymore because she's going to be spamming defense down like an F word. And you should already have mines that are applying defense down or weaken or something of that nature. And congratulations, your Barona's potential damage just went down the drain. Meanwhile, Acer, she's just clapping, dude. 100% clapping. So don't feel bad if you pull her. I'm not saying that Water Barona is useless, but to all my boys out there rocking tons of Water Baronas, if you pull Acers, slowly just phase her out until there's more changes done to her because she's no longer the queen. Alright, coming in next though, we do have Wood Barona, who's a defender type. She's coming in with 31k HP, 2.7k attack just about, and then 3.5k defense. Really high attack stat for her to be a defender, but it is what it is. Let's go over here and take a look at her skills real quick. So she has Morale Boost, which grants a 100% chance to restore 50% of her own SP when attacking, which directly leads into her 5-star skill, which is Seal, which grants 80% chance to seal the enemy's passive skills for 2 turns. That's a nice build up, and with her stats, that's also a nice distribution to make sure that she can hopefully get to that point of where she's potentially spamming Seal, and you don't have to really rely about any orbs because, well, as long as she can attack, as long as she can act, she's going to get that 5-star skill off eventually. Taking a look at the books though, Morale Boost receives a 10% damage increase, and it also goes up by 10% in itself. So it goes to 60% fully booked up, and then Seal receives a 10% damage increase, and it goes to 100% for 2 turns, which is pretty poggers. But once again, these are Nat 5 books, so you want to make sure that you use these quite well. I think at one point in time she was super duper useful, and I think, you know, depending on your composition, you could use wood mons and make wood mons useful depending on how you build them, since the whole fire jacket thing is finally just like not dead in the water because you see a lot of noob cake kids using it. But it's all really just dependent on your composition. Like if you have something that can totally back up Barona, I think she's going to be a great asset to your team. And if not, I don't feel bad that if you Evo to her and feed her to the water one, because you just purely get more damage out of her. But I think she does deserve at least some type of comeback, especially with mons like Wood Indra being more viable now than ever. It's just more so of you being creative with using her in a PvP defense situation, hence her defender status and her ability to get her Seal up quick, more so than anything else. But that's just one man's opinion on lovely, lovely Wood Barona. Make Wood Barona great again, you guys. Make her great again. Coming in next though, we do have Light Barona, who's an attacker type. She's coming in with 29k HP, 3.8k attack, and then 2.8k defense. Her stats are just beautiful, dude. She's an attacker type with nearly 3k attack and nearly 4k, I mean not nearly 3k attack, but nearly 3k defense and 4k attack. That is smiley face gaming right there, dude. That is so good. So good. Let's go over here and take a look at her skills though. So for her 3-star skill, she has Shock, which lasts for 1 turn with a 100% chance. And then for her 5-star skill, she has Puncture, which I do believe is a change from what she had in the past. So Puncture, once again, acts just like Draka, but the difference between her and Fire Draka, at least, is there's no morale boost, and she's more similar to Light Draka in that instance, because Light Draka, I think, has like Weaken and Puncture, so she doesn't have Shock and Puncture. But I mean, it is what it is. I do have this on my casually account, which is super duper nice. So she's like kind of an odd type of kit on her, because with Shock she's able to basically CC him on, but with it only being 1 turn, it honestly doesn't last long enough. And then Puncture, you can build her kind of frail but not super frail, just to get some more damage out of her. So let's take a look at her books real quick. So with Shock, that gets a 20% damage increase, and it goes to 2 turns 100% Shock, which is definitely worth it. And then for Puncture, that receives a 20% damage increase, and it goes to 100% Puncture versus 90%, which that 10% is a big increase. So overall, her books are quite well. I understand why her Shock is at 100% 1 turn if books turn it to 2 turns, but I would honestly prefer if it was slightly lower but 2 turns, because 1 turn Shock just isn't enough in my opinion. and she's one of the mons where you can't really put her on auto unless you're running just a crowd control composition in itself, or you have mons to kind of support her. So hopefully another stunner or shocker, because that one turn shock alone isn't going to be enough to really save her, and with her built more DPS orientated, it's a little bit rough trying to balance, you know, can I crowd control this mon, or should I go and pop puncture off? I mean, she's super duper easy to build though, especially if you can get lucky and get her with like a triangle slot, because with her being a light type, she does have that benefit of having slightly higher crit rate than everyone else. But you know, my take on her, especially just having her on the casual account, she isn't Evo 3, but she requires some finesse to be useful. I'm not going to say that she's top tier, but she's definitely usable. It's just, you know, there's definitely some thought involved in using her. Alright, and then last but not least though, we do have Dark Barona, who is a tank type. She's coming in with 48k HP, 2.1k attack, and then 2.5k defense. With her being a tank, obviously her main selling point is to have plenty of defense. Just kidding. Plenty of HP. Let's go over here and take a look at her skills though. So for her 3-star skill, she has morale boost, which grants 100% chance to restore 20% of allies' SP when attacking. Not 20% when herself is attacking, but when she attacks, 20% ally SP regeneration to the whole entire squad. So think Fire Draka, but a little bit higher. That 5% is a difference, and it does help, especially in team composition. So with her having a lot of HP in that 3-star skill already, things are looking up, man. Things are looking up. Which leads us over here to the 5-star skill, which is Adrenaline, and this restores allies' HP and equal to 10% of Barona's own max HP. 48k base HP is already pretty pog champ, so that is some nice synergy right there. So she has some survivability, also paired with Adrenaline, which you're going to build her hopefully triple HP anyways, if not HP defense, if you can kind of pull it off with enhancements. But overall, pretty good right there, pretty good. So she has SP generation for the entire squad, and she's also able to heal the entire squad, making her, if she has a potentially good set, possibly quite annoying depending on the composition, because she's also a dark mon. So obviously, to take advantage of dealing the most damage to her, you would bring in a light mon to counteract that, but we know that they counter each other. But we can see over here of books, there's no increase to her morale boost, which is sad, man. That's sad face gaming. But it does receive a 20% damage increase, and then her Adrenaline receives a 25% damage increase, because if Adrenaline went up to like 15% and her morale boost went up to like 25%, that'd be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I would say Dark Barona is very interesting, especially depending on the team composition. She is obviously more so of a defender mon, or a mon that should be on your defensive slots in Champion League or PvP, versus having her active. I guess you could try and pull, you know, bring her into golems depending on your composition for like B15 if you don't have a light succubus, but your mileage may vary on that, so don't quote me on that. I can't test her out because I don't have a Dark Barona, or I would, but she definitely has some uses in my opinion. But overall, that's pretty much the updated Barona review, you guys. And once again, it is the happy hour, or the happy time for the whole review here. So I would say that number one, Balrona, at least in my opinion, would probably end up being Dark at this point in time for me. I feel like she's the most appealing, followed by Light. And then for the third place Balrona is going to be Water Balrona, followed by Wood Barona, and then we're going to end things off with Fire Barona being the weakest one out of the bunch, because her kit just isn't flattering for anything. Fire Wild Thing exists, Fire Indra exists, so why does Barona with that kit exist? Water Barona was kind of shadowed by Acer. She's still usable, but obviously once you get Acer's, phase her out. Wood, depending on your team composition, you might have to get Big Brain to put her to use. Light is useful, awkward, but useful. And then Dark is probably the most usable, or the most being able to synergize with most other defense teams or defense mons on your team out of all the Baronas, at least in one man's opinion. But that's pretty much it for this video, you guys. If there's any more Ashramons that need to be updated, feel free to leave it in the comments below or the comment of that particular Ashramon video. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching and being patient with your boy and pushing out new content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.